What's up, everybody? It's your boy Eddie 1000. Today is July 1st, 2025. And in this video, we are going to talk about Juror 25 in the P. Diddy trial. So, just a synopsis. Today, Monday, the June 30th, which is technically yesterday, they had the first day of jury deliberations. And within about an hour or two of the jury deliberating, there was a note passed from the jury room to the judge that indicated that 11 of the 12 jurors were having issues with one juror. Now, as I mentioned in my previous video, that in my experience in a mock jury room, you have leading voices, and one side is going to lean one way, and the other side is going to oppose, and then they're going to debate like that. So in this video, I'm going to give my prediction on what I think is happening in the jury room. Okay. Now, think about it. They say that the juror number 25 is not, juror number 25, they say he's a 51-year-old white male who has a doctorate in neuroscience or biology, and is a veterinarian or something like that. So you have to wonder. We have to use some sense here, common sense. Try to apply some common sense to what is the issue, what could be the issue, and we have to put everything into context, right? So, leading up to the deliberations, there was already a male juror who pretended to live in New York or Manhattan or wherever just to be part of this trial, right? So we know that, and they say that he, I believe, was more of a Diddy fan, But anyway, that was a black dude who got kicked off. Now we have a white dude, 51, and you have to put into context that 51-year-old white man from New York is familiar with Diddy. And there are only basically two ways that this goes, right? Either he and the note basically said, let me rewind, I don't know if I said this, but the note basically said that from the jury room to the judge, it said that this juror does not want to follow the instructions of the judge. And that's either, I interpret that as being that he doesn't care what the judge says, that either Diddy's guilty of everything, not guilty of everything. So let's apply some common sense. Now, we already had one juror who probably was going to be a holdout for Diddy, the black guy who they kicked off. And as men, we aren't too far different from one another. There are some differences, but in the grand scheme of things, we all like women generally. In the grand scheme, we all like women, and we like looking at beautiful women, right? Now, let's take the stance. Let's take the stance that he he is going to find Diddy guilty on all charges, regardless of what the judge says. Would it make sense for him to be quiet and argue, well, not argue, but support or provide proof of each count? Like, count number 1, sex trafficking Cassie, or whatever the charge is. And he'll say, yes, he sex trafficked Cassie because XYZ. And then everybody else would either agree, disagree, debate, or whatever. Right? Or let's go the other opposite. Let's say that he cannot find Diddy guilty, regardless of what the judge says. And he expresses that after 1 or 2 hours. Like, he could be thinking or express like, yo, I'm not going to sit here for hours on end debating whether Diddy is guilty of this little thing or that little thing. He's not guilty. You know, I don't think that Cassie was sex trafficked or anything like that. Let's go ahead and give this verdict and let's be out. Because after, like I said, when I was in deliberations, my mock trial, it felt like eternity, right? After listening. And these cats, they were in this for 2 months in jury, day in and day out. So in my experience deliberating, it felt like, yo, this shit need to be over with. And I have the belief that this juror said, yo, this dude's not guilty of sex trafficking, not guilty of all this other shit. Because, again, men are logical. And this guy has a doctorate, which is takes a lot of time and energy and effort to accomplish. And I'm thinking that he is like, yo, these hoes didn't have a pot to piss in, and Diddy has worked his ass off to get millions upon millions, maybe even $1 billion. And I can't put him away or charge him with sex trafficking because he had sex with his girlfriend and his girlfriend had sex with another dude. I can't find him guilty for that bullshit. There's no need to sit here for any more time because, you know, it doesn't make sense. You basically have a billionaire who is being taken down by 2 broke ass hoes who were broke. Now they rich. Diddy still paying their rent, and he's like, this is not a crime. That is how I'm interpreting. He's like, yo, I don't care what the judge says. I don't care what them instructions say. He's not guilty. Like, I don't even want to be a part of this shit. He's not guilty. Let's go. And that's my belief. Otherwise, he would have just went along with it and said, you know, after they go over the charges, he would have said guilty, guilty, and still it would have been, I don't know. I don't know, because you have to think. And the latest update from the courtroom is basically that, damn, time is ticking, is that they wanted to get more information on a specific charge of drugs, and if someone asks for drugs, is that still distribution of drugs? So it sounds like they're on the, well, not sounds like, they're on the RICO Act, and it seems like they're trying to get everybody on board for that one charge. So, in my opinion, it's looking good for Diddy, because one juror is not like the rest of them. So if they were all in agreement, think about it. If they were all in agreement, they would have ended this deliberation in like 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, if they were all in agreement. But they're not all in agreement. There's somebody, or maybe, like I said in the original, they are, when you have a group of people trying to come together for one outcome, guilty or not guilty, even though there's one juror who says, I'm not following the judge's instructions, I don't care, there are likely others in that group who may feel that same way, but just aren't vocalizing it or expressing it or verbalizing it. But that's what's in their mind. Because if you go back and look at my other video, I say, of course, some people are more talkative than other people in a jury deliberation session. So just because they said one juror is not following instructions or feels strongly about their opinion, it's likely that other jurors feel the same way. And I think it's likely that they may come out as a hung jury, because if somebody's feeling that strong, there's probably not going to be an easy way to get that person to just do a U-turn, right? If they say, fuck your instructions, there's no way I could find him guilty on this. He's not going to do a U-turn and say, oh, okay, let's listen, all right, he's guilty. I don't think it's going to work that way. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you for watching. I'm out.